So let's just picture this for a second. 1 minute, you're just going about your day. Maybe you're at a Bucks game, grabbing something at the mall, or just walking through a parking lot. Everything is completely normal.
You're probably thinking about your to-do list, not really paying close attention to the ground beneath your feet. And why would you? You trust that the places you go are safe, you've got no reason to think anything else.
But then it happens. A wet floor with no sign, a broken step you didn't see, a poorly lit walkway, and boom. Suddenly the solid ground just isn't there anymore, and you're falling.
And in that moment, you're not just dealing with the shock and the pain. Suddenly there's this storm of questions. What happens now? Who's responsible for this? And maybe the most important question of all, what are your rights right here in Florida? So let's break that down.
You'll often hear people call it a simple fall. But the reality is, there's often nothing simple about it. These incidents can be, and often are, absolutely life-changing.
I mean, we are talking about injuries that can be truly catastrophic. A fall can easily lead to broken bones, serious spinal injuries, or even a traumatic brain injury. But it's not just the physical pain, right? There's this hidden toll, the psychological side, the fear of falling again, the loss of your mobility, that feeling that your whole world has suddenly shrunk.
So when something like this happens, how do you even begin to figure out who's at fault? Well, it all comes down to a really important legal idea called premises liability.
Okay, so here in Florida, property owners have a legal duty to keep their property in a reasonably safe condition for visitors. That's premises liability in a nutshell. It means they're on the hook for fixing dangers they know about, or even dangers they should have known about if they were being careful.
And this table breaks it down perfectly. See, on one side you have the duty of care. That's what a property owner is supposed to do. Inspect for danger, fix problems, warn people. But on the other side, that's negligence. That's the failure to do those things. And that failure is what can lead directly to someone getting hurt.
And we're not talking about abstract ideas here. These are very real-world hazards we see all the time, right here in Tampa. Think about a spilled soda in the food court at International Plaza, or a slick spot in a packed aisle at Raymond James Stadium, or even just a poorly lit parking garage that's hiding a cracked sidewalk. Most falls don't happen because people are clumsy. They happen because a hazard was ignored.
Okay, but here's a question I know a lot of you might have. What if you think you are partly to blame? Maybe you are looking down at your phone for a second. Well, in Florida, we have a rule for that. It's called comparative negligence. And here's the bottom line. As long as you are found to be 50% or less at fault, you can still get compensation. It might be reduced, sure, but your claim isn't just thrown out.
So, understanding the law is one piece of the puzzle, but acting on it is another. And when it comes to timing, Florida has a super strict, non-negotiable rule that you absolutely have to know about.
2 years. That's it. This is Florida's statute of limitations for most of these injury cases. And let's be crystal clear, this isn't 2 years to think about filing a lawsuit. This is the hard deadline to actually file the formal complaint in court.
And you really need to pay attention here because this is a huge and very recent change. For injuries that happened before March 24, 2023, you had 4 years, but for any injury after that date, the time you have to file was literally cut in half. This makes taking action early more critical than it has ever been.
This right here is probably the best way to think about it. It's like that closing gate at the airport. It really doesn't matter how strong your case is or how badly you were hurt. If you miss that deadline, even by 1 day, the gate is closed. The plane is gone, and there's no calling it back.
Let me tell you about Maria. This is a hypothetical story, but it happens all the time. She falls in a store, and the insurance company kind of drags its fate, gives her some lowball offers. She waits 22 months, almost the whole time, to finally call a lawyer, thinking she's got plenty of time. But by the time the case is fully prepared, that 2-year deadline has passed. And just like that, her case, no matter how strong, is gone forever.
Okay, so knowing all these rules, especially that urgent deadline, what should you actually do in the minutes and hours right after a fall? Taking these steps is all about protecting your health and your rights.
First, and this is non-negotiable, get medical care. Seriously, don't just try to walk it off. Adrenaline is a powerful thing, and it can mask major injuries that won't show up for hours or even days. Second, report what happened right away to a manager or staff, and make sure they file an official incident report. Third, document everything. Use your phone. Take pictures of what caused you to fall, of your injuries, and get the names and numbers of anyone who saw it happen. And finally, if an insurance adjuster calls wanting a recorded statement, just politely decline until you've had a chance to get some legal advice.
Look, trying to juggle the pain, the medical bills, the paperwork, and calls from people who don't always have your best interests at heart, it's just completely overwhelming. And that's where finding the right advocate can make all the difference in the world.
So what does a good advocate actually do for you? Well, they listen, for starters. They handle all that stressful back and forth with the insurance companies. They manage all those critical deadlines we just talked about. They gather the evidence to build a case that shows the total impact on your life, not just what you can see on an X-ray. All of this lets you focus on the one thing that actually matters, getting better.
Because really, at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. When you're hurt and you're facing this process that can feel so cold and impersonal, you just need someone who sees you as a person, not just another case number.
So let's just bring this all home. You didn't ask to get hurt. You didn't choose for any of this to happen. But you do have a choice now. You can choose to understand your rights, to protect your future, and to find a clear path out of the chaos. That power to take the next step, it's in your hands.
Legal disclaimer. This video was created for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute legal advice. If you have been injured in an accident, contact an attorney